Welcome back to Let's Learn here on the NCW Life channel. I'm Eric Granstrom, joined in studio today by Jeff Neher with Cordell Neher & Company, talking about tax tips. Our series continues here with Cordell Neher & Company. And Jeff, we appreciate you being here. We're talking about planning for the future and our investments for the future, and we've discussed Roth, the difference between a Roth and an IRA. We hear about this. We have our investment people tell us about this. We signed up with a new employer, and they're talking about, well, how do you want to invest for the future? So give us the difference between a Roth and an IRA, especially when it comes to our taxes.
So an IRA, and I'll call that a traditional IRA because it's the normal IRA we think of as an IRA. We can contribute $5,500 into an IRA as opposed to the $18,000 we could maybe plus for our 401k plan. Mm-hmm. So an IRA has some limitations on when we can actually use an IRA because if we are already covered by a retirement plan through our employer, we may not be able to make a deductible IRA contribution. But if we don't have an employer plan that's provided to us, we can do this through a traditional IRA. We get a deduction now. We take a deduction on our tax return. It's a adjustment to gross income, so it's right on page 1 of the tax return. We reduce our income by the amount we put into the traditional IRA, and then later on, when we take the distributions, all of the amount that we take out of the IRA will be taxable. Now, there's some penalties for taking it out too early.
Okay.
And this is where a lot of people kind of worry about this a little bit, because the amount you put into an IRA truly shouldn't be amounts that you're thinking about withdrawing right away. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because if you put it in a traditional IRA and you take it out before you're 59 and a half, you actually not only pay the tax on the amount you take out, but you also pay an excise tax of 10%. So a 10% penalty tax, excise tax, plus the income tax, which makes it pretty expensive.
That's
to take
quite a
out.
hit.
Quite a hit.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive to take it out early. So generally we say, don't put something into your traditional IRA unless you're planning on leaving it there until you either retire, become disabled, potentially die and leave it to someone else. Those are all okay. Other ways of taking it out can be very expensive. Now, there could be a provision for a first-time home buyer that would allow you to take out some limited amount of money, without a penalty, but you still pay income tax on it.
Okay.
So think about this in terms of when I'm putting money in an IRA, it's longer-term money. I'm planning on leaving it in until I'm 59 and a half. If I want to save some money for buying a house, the IRA, the traditional IRA, is probably not the way to do that. I can do it in a different form. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, contrast that with a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA, same type investment vehicle, only now the envelope says Roth on it. And saying Roth on it, we get no current deduction. Okay. We don't get any deduction for putting the money in, but we get potential tax-free distributions when we take the money out. The only rule is we have to leave the money in for 5 years to withdraw the income from it tax-free. Now, we can always take out, because we're allowed to take out the amount we contribute. So if I needed to take out the $5,000 that I put into my Roth IRA before I'm 59 and a half, I can take that out without any penalty because I didn't get a deduction for it. So I can put the money in, and then I can take the money out before retirement.
But it's still considered income, and you have to pay the income tax on that, correct?
Not on that portion.
Oh, really?
No. So the Roth contribution, as long as I made Roth contributions, whatever my amount that I contributed, I can take back out at any time I want and pay no penalty. But if I take any of the income that's been earned, and I take that out before 5 years passes, and I'm over 59 and a half, then I pay a penalty on the income that I take out. So now I'm 59 and a half, I make a Roth contribution from my first time at 59 and a half. I still have to wait 5 years to take the income out. Okay, without paying a tax on it.
Now, is that 5 years?
Penalty, but I'd have a tax.
Is that 5 years from when you created it, or say, for example, you purchased your initial investment in your Roth was $5,000, and for 5 years you've been putting $5,000 a year into that. So I can only take out 5 or without the penalty?
You can take, if you've been making $5,000 contributions for 5 years, you could actually take $25,000 out, each of those contributions, out without any problem at all.
Okay.
Now, the income that's been earned on it is a different matter. You can take out the portion that relates to the contributions that are over 5 years old.
Okay.
Okay?
And when you say income, that's basically that's
Whatever the
growth,
investment earnings that are on this
Right.
on this amount. So
and
if you had it in
hope that it's growing.
you hope that it's growing. Yes. There is a provision if it didn't grow and you actually lost some money, you can actually take an itemized reduction on a Roth IRA for the loss.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that's not a loss of the value, that's an actual loss, correct?
That's an actual loss. So the fact that this fluctuates and goes up and down in value during the time that you hold this, you're not getting any benefit for that. Internally, you put some money into a traditional IRA and you bought some stock, and that stock went down in value and you sold the stock. You don't get to take any deduction for the loss that happened on that stock trade inside of your IRA, because that's all within that compartment that's in this tax deferred package. It's only when you take the money out, in a traditional IRA, you would just get less distributions, so you would have less taxable income. In a Roth IRA, if you don't get back at least your original contributions, then you can actually take an itemized reduction loss once the account is totally closed out.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Now, a little trick. Some people have income limitations on Roths, so they can't always make all this Roth contribution, because Roths you have to have income under certain thresholds. Same thing with traditional IRAs. You may not be able to make a deductible traditional IRA because you may be employed by someone, but you still want to make a deduction. What we have is what we call a backdoor Roth conversion. Okay, a little kind of like that sports technology.
Inside,
there.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. End around.
End around. So the provisions allow us now to make a non-deductible. We elect to make a non-deductible traditional IRA contribution. As long as we have no other traditional IRAs, this works. If we have another IRA, this will not necessarily work. But if I have just a 401k plan at work, I can actually open up a traditional IRA, put in my money, and then I can elect to convert it to a Roth IRA, and that's allowed.
Okay.
Even though I can't make a direct contribution to the Roth IRA.
Okay.
So it's called a backdoor Roth contribution.
That's why we've got the professionals here. We're going to take a break and come back. I wanted to talk about rolling over and what I might be looking for that, because I just changed jobs and started working here. So I wanted to talk to Jeff Neher about that as we continue with our Let's Learn program and tax tips with Cordell Neher and Company. We'll do that when we come back here on the NCW Life Channel.